We're going to talk about internet lawsuits. Now, Erik Syverson is with us right now out in the LA Bureau. Erik, thanks so much for being with us today. This is a hot topic for me because I don't use any of this stuff for the exact reasons that people are suing. I don't use Facebook. Twitter I use for work purposes only. People put so much stuff out there. I mean, we just heard today that Snooki was driving in Newark and she tweeted about sitting in traffic and the mayor tweeted her back, and I don't even know. People are out there, and now you're saying there's lawsuits because of it.
Well, that's right. It's really been the year of the internet class action lawsuit is the way I like to term it. You know, when internet usage first began, you know, it's my opinion that a lot of people enjoyed using the internet because of the anonymity it provided. However, what we're finding in recent years with the explosion of social media and social networking is the exact opposite, is privacy is really disappearing. And a lot of these class action lawsuits are based on privacy violations from companies such as Google and Facebook, who are the two most notable.
But people are out there. They put pictures of their kids. They put, I mean, it's almost like they're setting themselves up for this. You know, you can put a, I downloaded something to be able to read Twitter on my BlackBerry the other day, and it asked me if I wanted to have a GPS location on each of my tweets, and I said no, but so many people would not, and so you can, I mean, you know exactly where I am at all times now.
Well, that's right. You know, if a consumer has noticed that their privacy is going to be out there and their location is going to be out there, that's not an issue. What most of these lawsuits are based upon are the fact that the Googles and the Facebooks of the world are not telling their users what they're doing with their information and who can access their information. With regard to Google, for example, who has recently proposed a settlement over its Google Buzz social network application, Google, without notifying its users, simply signed up everyone with the Gmail account and made their contacts, their email contacts, viewable by everyone else in someone's Gmail contacts list, essentially exposing everyone in your email address book. So those are the kinds of situations that consumers and privacy advocates and plaintiffs' class action attorneys are worried about, the lack of notice.
You're one of the few internet litigators out there right now. I got to believe business is booming just because of this. I mean, as you said, Google settled for $8.5 million. These are big cases.
Well, that's true, and I think as time goes by, this is becoming a hotter and hotter issue with regard to internet usage. And people are really starting to think long and hard, I think, about their involvement in some of these internet applications, the social networks. And particularly with regard to Google and Facebook, people are a little more leery, and they're paying attention to things like the privacy policies of these companies. They want to know, for example, if I use Facebook, who are you going to sell my data to? You're tracking my activity on Facebook. Are you going to keep that private, or are you going to sell it to some marketer, or are you going to you know, opt me into some new service without notifying me? So these are really the issues that are at the forefront of internet litigation. And you are correct. We're seeing an explosion in litigation over these issues, simply you know, coinciding with the explosion of social networking and internet usage.
But Erik, why is this any different from like when a marketer sells my information? You know, old school, right? Snail mail. They used to sell my address to somebody else. They put you on some list, and next thing you know, you started to get advertisements in the mail and things because my information was sold. It's not much different, though, is it?
Well, it is somewhat analogous. I think there are a few differences with regard to the internet and your activity on a website, for example, is they're required by law to have privacy policies posted and alert their users to how their information is going to be used. I think in the previous example, in the old world of marketing, as I like to call it, those protections were not in place.
So what happens going forward now? Do you expect new regulations or rules to be put in place, or are we just going to see companies trying to push the envelope for a little bit longer?
Well, I think as long as there's money to be made off consumer data, and as long as the internet companies have new products to push and services to push, and as that space becomes more competitive, between the Googles and Facebooks and Yelps of the world. I think you're going to see these companies really push the limit. There's also a cultural difference here. A lot of young internet entrepreneurs have grown up in an age where privacy isn't so much of an issue for them. I notice sort of the attitude in the industry is that, well, you know, consumer data, it's not really that important. It's as if they don't view it as something wrong to be opting people into new services without telling them or selling their data. So I think we're going to continue to see an explosion in this space. Obviously, internet and social media is highly competitive. So as these companies try to grab market share and try to monetize their businesses, I think we're going to continue to run up against these issues for some time being.
What would you recommend then that people do if they are concerned about their privacy? I actually asked in our chat if people were concerned, and for the most part, people aren't. I mean, I know I myself, I bank online. That's somewhat of a trust, you putting all your information out there. But if I am concerned about things like this, what should I do?
Well, the most obvious solution is to back off your internet usage.
Yeah.
I think with regard to social media, what folks can do is really scrutinize the privacy policies. They're filled with a lot of legalese, but also do some background research with regard to various privacy organizations. If you're concerned about privacy, find out about the website. Find out what their history is. Have they been sued over these issues? What is their stance with regard to treating your information?
Yeah, nobody actually believes, though, it's funny, reading some of these posts, that once you're on the web, anything is private anyway. You're putting yourself out there. I mean, there's websites like whitepages.com that if you put somebody's name in, it like literally offers you a Google map to their front door. I mean, there's a lot of invasive stuff out there these days, and it almost seems like you throw your hands up and you say, I'm either going to play in it or I'm going to shut my computer off altogether.
Well, to a certain extent, that is true. You know, one example I can think of a politician was Dick Cheney famously did not have an email account or a BlackBerry. So to a certain extent, it's a philosophical battle. It's, do you want to play in this space? If you do, where do you want to play? You have to know who you're playing with. If you want to be 100% sure that your information isn't out there, the obvious choice is to go off the grid. But that's simply impractical. We all rely upon internet usage, whether it's email or the example that you gave, online banking, which I do as well. It's a lot of these things are incredibly convenient. So the problem is the line really hasn't been drawn or established with regard to how exposed you are, and we don't have a lot of great consumer protections for folks using services such as online banking, for example. You know, if someone is able to access your information from your bank, for example, due to your online activities, really all the bank has to do under most of the laws is provide you notice that it occurred and then provide you with identity theft protection insurance for a year. I think we can probably do better than that.
Erik, I gotta believe you're going to be busier and busier as the days go on. Erik Syverson, internet law attorney out in LA. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and helping us understand what we have to do to protect ourselves.
You bet. My pleasure. Thank you so much.